You have to kind of look at what you think. Benevolent is life-affirming, it's compassionate, it's caring. The opposite is hostile, rigged against us, So where do you think? And I got to thinking, what different people think different things. But the truth is that it depends on you, doesn't it? It depends on how you see it. That I believe that the universe is neutral, and we see it how we are. We see the universe as we are. Chopra says that life is pure potential. And I love that. I always loved that as a kid when I used to think about that we have this power in us that can shape. And when we go within and we come from that spot of love, we can shape the life that we want. We can shape the beauty and the love that is around us into something that is so powerful, And whatever meaning, that you want from life, you give your life. You give this whole universe meaning. Every one of us has that power. We're the observer, and we see it. Even scientists in quantum physics are showing that scientists now, as observers, can change what they see, right? They see it. Everybody sees things differently. So the two scientists can look at the same thing and see it differently. It's different. Isn't that amazing? To me, I just like, wow, that tells me that we have that power within us to see anything differently. What if everybody did that with the world? What if everybody saw peace? Can you imagine what our world would be like? Because see, it's about a mirror. The universe is a mirror. And it reflects back what's right in each and every one of us. It works with what we bring the universe. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we bringing? What are we bringing this universe? And if we bring this mind and this attitude closed of love, that's what we get back, a loveless universe. But when we have a heart that is open to love and connection, that's what we see. We see it and it reflects right back to us. We live that kind of life. Einstein also said, I love him. He had some great things to say, He says that either everything's a miracle or nothing is. How do you see it? Can you imagine everything being a miracle? Nick, I'm thinking about you. We're sitting in class and everybody's going, it's hot, it's so hot. And he goes, it's a beautiful day. It's beautiful. I love the hot, And it's true. I'm one of the ones saying, it's hot, And the truth is we have to look at that, the hot's going to be gone, and it is gone, and there's beauty. What do you see, in your life? It's so important. We choose. We get to choose. I'm reading I have this book. It's called The Secret Power, and it's by the lady who wrote The Secret, Rhonda Byrne. And she kind of talks about this force that is in each and every one of us that moves us. It's what shapes us, and it's the power of what? Love. It's the power of love. When I said that to Judy, she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Love." That's all I talk about is love, because I believe it's the power that moves the universe. I believe that with all my heart. She says that love is the force that moves you. That everything you want to be, do, have comes from love. Without love, you wouldn't move. There would be no positive force to propel you to get up in the morning, to work, to play, to dance, to talk, to learn music, or anything at all. You'd be like a stone statue. It is the positive force of love that inspires you to move, and it gives you the desire to do or be or have anything. The positive force of love can create anything good, can increase the good times and change anything negative in your life. You have the power over your health, your wealth, your career, your relationships, in every area of your life. And the power of love is right inside of you. The truth is, if you have the power over your life and the power is inside of you, why then isn't your life amazing? Why isn't our life always amazing? Why isn't every area of your life magnificent? Why don't you have everything that you want? Why haven't you been able to do everything that you want to do? Why aren't you filled with this power of joy every single day? The answer is because you have a choice. That's what she says. She goes on and on. But she says the power is we have a choice and we don't act upon that choice. We don't see ourselves in this power of love. We don't see it all the time. We don't see this beauty of life and let it thrill us like that video did me. It thrilled me, because I chose to feel it, right? Now, you can be thinking of a million other things about what you have to do, or you can watch that video and let it thrill you to the bone, You find meaning. See, when you are tapped into this power that she's talking about, when you really live from it, you find meaning and synchronicity in everything that you do. You know what synchronicity? You guys know synchronicity? It's huge. You know, synchronicity are these meaningful coincidences that line up in your life. And it's like, wow, when you are in the flow, your life is in the flow. And it's so huge. Being at the right place at the right time is synchronicity. And we are in this universal state that is so in flow with the universe. The benevolent universe is giving us messages. And I have to say, I did Judy and I actually were invited to do Sandy Candel's memorial, where they spread the ashes out on the water in Newport. Judy gets sick, so she couldn't out on the water on the boat, so Judy didn't go. So I went, oh, you know, I have to do it without Judy, you know, and it's always more fun, right, when you have, you know, your buddy there. But anyway, I went, and I have to tell you, talk about synchronicities, talk about beauty, talk about the, you know, thrill of the universe. We went out on this, you know, lovely boat. We went way out to Newport Harbor. It was just the most beautiful ceremony. There was a guy there that had white roses, and we did this beautiful, you know, letting go of the roses. I did my part of the thing, and all of a sudden, the captain comes down and says, "We're going to do something we usually don't do. We're going to go a little further out because we spotted some dolphins." We went out. I swear to God, I'm not kidding you. We went way farther than you know they usually go. We saw these dolphins. They were circling the boat. There were more than I could count, 20, 25 dolphins jumping and twirling in the air. It was so magical. I can't even tell you. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Now, what was funny is I went a week ago out whale watching, and we saw a little bit. You know, we saw a few dolphins, and I was thrilled, just thrilled to see that. But never imagined that a week later I would see these dancing dolphins, you know, and they were like, they were tricking in the air. They were just, it was amazing. And then I went up on the top of the boat, and I was by myself and kind of just, you know, in this state of meditation. I looked out and I saw the rainbow, a heart rainbow, just by myself. And somebody else said later that they had seen it too. Looked down in the water where the dolphins were swimming. There was a rainbow around the dolphins. It was just like this beautiful synchronistic moment. And I thought, wow, this was for me. This was for Sandy, right? I mean, it was hers, but it was for me. Everybody sees their own, you know, universe. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, you know, this, talk about a beauty, talk about, you know, the goodness of the universe. You know, that's what it's about. There's so much synchronicity in life if we're open to it. I remember my mom died. I've told this story a million times, but we had her ashes in the car, and my sister said, you know, Mom's in the back seat, you know. And I'm going, that sounds pretty weird. And we looked up, and there was a sign, you know, in this little town. We've known it forever. It was called Meredith Furniture, right? And Meredith. Okay, the MER was burned out, and Edith was lit up. Right at that moment when she said, Mom's in the back seat, I said, oh, no, she isn't. I said, you know, that's the freedom. See, we were talking about freedom and stuff. You know, there was a sign. Now, you might believe in signs, you might not. I'll tell you one more, because these happen all the time if we're open. When Fred died, my husband, I was kind of, you know, thinking, where's he? You know, and, you know, how are you? And I remember looking up, there's a license plate right in front of me that said, I am F-Y-N-E. Fine. I am fine. And I think the guy's name might have been like Fine or something like that. But, you know, I mean, is that amazing? That was like, I took that as a sign. We take our own signs, right, to somebody else, and you're not closed. It's like, you know, that's, you know, not a big deal. To me, it's a big deal. That's the universe talking to us. And when we are open, when we believe, we get more signs on what to do, you know, where to go, how our life should be, if we're open and in the sync with the universe. There's these open lines of communication. The universe guides us. We're not alone. You know, we have, I don't know, guides, I don't know, angels, whatever you want to call it. There's something in us that guides us. And all we have to do is be open and loving and tap into that. Tap into it and move our life from there. That's how we create. See, we're creators. That's why we're here, to create. So we have to say, where are we creating from, right? Are we creating from this open, loving spot? Or are we creating from this fear? From this fear that is in us. Carlos Castaneda, he wrote, I think, Don Juan, if you've ever read that, and here's what he says: all of us, whether all of us have a cubic centimeter of chance that pops out in front of our eyes from time to time. Now think about this, a cubic centimeter that pops out from time to time. The difference between an average man and a spiritual warrior, he calls it, is that the warrior is aware of this, and one of his tasks is to be alert, deliberately waiting so that when his cubic centimeter pops out, he has the necessary speed and the prowess to pick it up. See, we're all given these opportunities. We just got to be ready. We got to be aware. We got to know that everything's a sign everywhere we look. You know, we're not alone. We have an energy that walks with us, and this energy is love. I love that. Deepak Chopra says that there's 3 steps to trusting these things, that they interrupt the flow of life. Like we're just in this flow, and then all of a sudden something happens. And he says that you got to trust it. He said the first thing is pay attention. Pay attention to each incident that's going on. Don't take anything for granted. Things happen for you. You create it. He said, look at it, hold it in your mind. Don't just dismiss it as a coincidence, because it isn't in your life. So many times we go, it's just a coincidence. My daughter says, oh, you see a sign in everything, And I said, well, that's for me. I'm creating, right? I'm the creator. I'm creating them, and I love that. These are connections with something bigger than me. And then 2, pay attention to each incident and then give significance to your experience. Don't just say it's nothing. Give your significance to it. This means changing allegiance to the way of perceiving yourself. You aren't an isolated entity. That's not what you are. You're not just a little human all by yourself. If you could go down to the molecular level of love, if you could go beyond that, you would see we are an energy field connected, right? Everything is connected. We wouldn't think it was a big deal that we got signs, because we're all connected. Each and every one of us, we're manifesting. We're limited right now just from our little bodies, that look like they're all separate. But we're not. We're one. We're connected. If I was open enough, I could feel what everybody felt in here. And sometimes I can, All of us can do that. We can open up and feel this energy field around us. And the last one is give significance. No, I just said that one. The next one is value this new way of being in the world. That you know that you are an unchanging, infinite, eternal being. Know that the real you is not who's just sitting here. The real you is something powerful, infinite, eternal, filled with the power of love. According to Vedanta, there's 2 symptoms of enlightenment. You know what that is? 1, you can kind of tell if you're on the path and you're, getting there. You stop worrying about everything. You stop worrying. And number 2, you encounter more synchronicities. Everything's a sign. You start seeing them. And you're not worried about life. You guys, life is so precious. Life is so precious. And it's such a miracle. Every day we need to remember that. So I'm going to close my talk with this writing. I love this earth and existence. I don't have enough superlatives to describe it. Have you ever eaten a slice of warm berry pie with ice cream? Or been present at the birth of a child? Have you ever climbed in the high mountains and seen a crystal clear lake and felt the cool wind on your face? Have you smelled the mountain air on a crisp autumn evening? Have you run through the cool spring grass barefooted? And have you made snow angels at midnight? Have you laughed so hard that your stomach hurt and loved so much that you felt like you could burst? Have you let the sound of Andrew, what's his name, Botticelli? How do you say
Botticelli.
Yeah, has he made you cry? There is so much to hear, to see, to do, and to be in this universe. There is such joy possible to us all the time. And at the same time, I see the destruction and the insanity of the human being. I have known great joy and deep sadness, but the bad things go down only so deep. They don't shape my view that this world is beautiful and good and benevolent. Life is so very, very precious. And that's my prayer for each and every one of us, is that we know the power of preciousness of this beautiful, benevolent universe.